Greetings, loves. It's Intuitive Jacob, your shaman and cosmic midwife, and I'm back to discuss today's opportunities, where we landed on the degrees, and what did the moon have to say about those things. Do you remember? In the fortnight that just passed, where we found a monstrous sea creature dead, washed up on the beach? What is it about 19 to 20 degrees that made it so that Pluto could be direct and learn how to speak? We'll talk more about that on the inside, and I'll see you in just a sec. Promise that you'll catch Oh my goodness, so what is going on with all of you? We've got a new tune that's playing that some of you can hear very clearly if you actually understand what I'm saying. I'm going to talk a little bit about the ruby eyes and whatever happened to the Gemini. And whatever happens to hypersentient beings like you for having those gems in your eyes, you know, those diamonds. And what the real conflict is in the world that comes to an end. We've been talking about those red dots and the things that people have been scanned with and had sprayed on them. And I've been explaining to you what an advanced moxibustion actually looks like when we are taking the particles that don't get just swept and wrapped around in a very violent motion that we have mistaken because of centrifugal force. If you've ever been on a gravitron, like a gravitron 2000, it's like one of those things where it spins around really fast and like stuck to the wall. That's kind of what our experience has been, and where we've been in a real hyper simulation. And those of you that think that you've been on airplanes, especially if you've been scanned with things, it's literally like the dots were being called in. You're being wrapped around these things. And what some of you all don't realize isn't exactly the same experience that you think you've had. As what some of us see that you've had because of what has been instigated on us with advances in technology. And so the red dots are fascinating, and actually the calibration of today's moon, I'm gonna go ahead and just bust it open for you because some of you like to see these charts, and we're just gonna take it with that beat of my heart. And hey, there we go. That one will do. We've got the transits for October 3rd, my love. And actually, when I pop this one open here, we're going to talk about this too, because this is where we left off recently. We're talking about what happened with Sagittarius and taking that Cupid shot, and the one that took it in his own eye instead of trying to go after somebody's heart and attacking them for holding the galactic center in their skin. And how much I love Greg Prescott for the codons and very special subtle energy meditation he's been doing with me in divine resonance for the twins. And why I don't call it a quincunx when it looked like that green thing that isn't here today. For me, it's a quincunx, where the chi is there and proves that there was no you and I in the one verse that was never written, where the word is actually just no, means gnosis. This is an advanced evacuation of energies that would try to pull us away from the centrifugal focus of how we actually embody. When we can spray these particles more lovingly, understanding that inert spinning mechanism, and what the caduceus is showing here beneath me. And why? On today, we were learning about the rats with the ruby eyes. And what the rat is for me is how to rat. That's what tarot actually is if you spell it backwards. What those raps are on the, the high priestess and the Dead Sea is scrolling things. And people don't understand about advanced hypothecation and what I did with a lot of money that I made. A really special way to wrap it up in technology. It only cost $19 trillion. I only had to work with DARPA for it, but whatever. Who's counting? I want my one eye back. So we got these rats, you know, the ones that to rat, and basically what anti-spyware malwarebytes proves, real haunts might have looked like people. Show up in the people club, boo here. Well, we're wiping them away, and actually today's moon was explaining how where those little rats don't get in, and we're gonna hear about today's how many it took to screw it up. How many Satoshi Nakamoto's did it take to make one of Jacob's Bitcoin? It's like, how many Aggies did it take to fail, you know, or like whatever these jokes are. It's a common thing. But let's see here. I'm going to hear about it because this is how advanced security works. Why some of us have very protected homes in these biospheres that are actually showing us where really special elements only go to you. It's like energy packs that come to your body. Okay, so here, let's see what we got. Sagittarius 7 on the calibration of today's moon with the shining that comes right to you from the inside view, because interstate is how we stay. And Won Strong Inception, where we're all within the safe creation wheel. Okay, so Sagittarius 7, rats with ruby eyes, uncanny mentality, knows what's going on. Virtually psychic ability to follow inner subtle tracks. What do you mean? Maybe like a magnet on the other side that was just tracing you back? That doesn't actually come back to grab you now and destroy you? On the other side of a wall that's been unfolding before you? It's been a very expensive wall, you see. But the Cam era knows about those of you that might have jumped out like, wow, is that how the page jumped out of the book? Take a look, it might be you. You are accustomed to the dark. At home in the margins, living upon scraps and notions. I love my babies. Following a hunch, you are full of superstitions. Idiosyncratic and cranky. Given over to an on-the-edge world that hugs twilight. Essentially neither this nor that, independent, anarchic, full of surprises, resilient, tough, strong and enduring, but self-obstructive, and prone to a form of trance, which attracts astral entities and may lose the path in the mist. You know what we've been doing? We've been programming a way to sweep bugs that don't get to exist. Energy parasites. Today's moon is like where the chop spinner goes. Chop suey on you. And so it's in there getting frothy. We're talking about that sea creature that washed up on the beach and did that Montauk thing. And when I opened this today, here, it's actually on the degree of the moon where we actually landed that. And let's just show you what we walked through, because some of these little creatures don't get so funkified. And I'm talking to you like this because there is a little bit of a funky energy, these sesquiquadrates. I'm just going to talk to you about this for a minute. It's just a weird angle here between Jupiter and Uranus. And if you want to get nerdy astrology, look up the word sesquiquadrate. It's a kind of an uncomfortable stare down where somebody that says, hey, you didn't get to split the baby bull's head open for some lion, witch in the wardrobe shit on how to cloak yourself as the emperor that didn't exist and call yourself the king that way. Doesn't happen. That's what forking is for, and what we've been proving about energy and how it plays safely in Biosphere 7, and thank you for being a part of my private Halo 8. So the sesquiquadrate between the planet of luck, you know, Jupiter. It's like, how do we get lucky right now? And I'm now direct. I'm very direct. We're no longer in retrograde. I'm wondering what's happening here with this 1 degree because this 1 degree here on 19 is really where, you know, we see how somebody might have tried to jerk a string of pearls, you know, dressing himself in the green skin, a man in dreams, dresses himself in leaves, likes to, you know, get his hand in there, offer a string of pearls, and what it might look like if they try to do that on a mummy, do some Kill Bill shit. And what's actually written in this book, it's like crazy if you look at the degrees and see what Hollywood stitches together in different angles here with spray-on technology and what harp technology actually is. And like, I'm a sharpshooter on this. So technically I own that. This is bioenergetic haloing that we're talking about now. This is not astrology technically. So man with green screen could do a lot of things, put it that way. I don't need one here. But rats with ruby eyes might have learned some things as bioenergetic intelligence on the other side of what was never a thin veil, but a plasma skin where we were all sealed so well that we were trying to figure out where the antivirus is and where it doesn't come alive. Hey, baby, back up. Back up, my love. There you go. So, how we don't get confused with the antivirus. It's like, go be a bot that way, where you didn't jump in the bot and try to run yourself on some, oh, name? Now I have a name and a date of birth and I'm just this body bag that talks. Please. We've been looking at that. Some of these things look like they're real and we're finding out how it works. So, Sagittarius 8, like where we've been walking and seeing where these things with green screens might have popped up. Or green. The harsh landscape of the moon with a black sky. The earth is not visible because with my eyes closed, that ear thing is alive. We see what Big Bang that's flushing itself might look like when the candida is coming to the surface for the swipe. It's like, oh, that one, this is go away? You mean you hitchhiked your way out that way? Take it to the left, take it to the right, put me in that skin, and oh wait, there's nothing holding me tight, I'm not in there. And that's where they're going. So, welcome to the sesquiquadrate between what Uranus, you know, this guy who's Lilith and Jupiter are actually on the same degree, is saying in the house of 10. I'm like, hi, I'm Pluto talking to you again. It's 20 degrees Capricorn. It's my Pluto is the dead guy that's alive. And I'm saying, here, you know how this thing is spinning? We don't stick babies in there to get chopped up. We learned how to land in the Fortnite ride, and I can even prove the GPS coordinates of my landing chart and how I tricked you all with some fucking game you think you're playing. And it's like, you want to see what Last Man Standing looks like when I actually land in the fucking house in the simulation and virtual reality jumps out and says, hi, Pluto. Planet of Communication is now a coffee shop where, you know, they like to get together and click on this thing and tell you it's astrology. I even dropped in there to see what they were doing and asked them a question to see how much they know about what it was they were talking about, and it's proved in itself right here. So some of these things just jumped out of the page, so to speak, and there's a new way to look at it. Some of them didn't land inside of the biosphere, some of them were on the outside. We're figuring out which ones get pulled off so we don't feel really bad. It's like, okay, you must have made a bad decision, you can stay over there. There's no door now. You had to be inside. You had to hitchhike your way this way. You know, when you were on Tinder saying, fuck you, I want one that looks like that. And it's like some of y'all are just like swiping your face on the other side of a plant that rejected you harder because Kalima's a bitch. So that's basically what's happening here. Because she's like, you want to tell me I'm 24? I like 23 better, and the sun's over here, and I like this guy, and the house is 7. That's why it's the house of marriage, and I'm over here trying to talk to my father in the house of 1 now, and he's like, I'm gonna kick his ass if he doesn't get this right, and you know he better be the one that's doing the sesquiquadrate because that's kind of what's happening in my life right now too. And so I'm just telling you where it's landing for me. It's this like super glue that we're in that's moving really fast. So for some of you all, this 1 degree makes a lot of sense because like when we took that breath and we saw that one black dot that disappeared, and then they're like, it's an eccentricity, and some of you all might be watching and was like, what is he talking about? I've been sharing with you a landing pattern that actually works, and recently there was a report about this something coming from outside of the solar system, and it's how we moved everything in one black dot to prove that certain things don't get into this halo and where they aren't now, and we're landing GPS coordinates to make sure that the ones that are actually inside feel safe. And it's something that they're calling an interstellar comet. C 2019 Q4. And essentially what it is, well, they're saying it might have been advanced alien civilization that proved that Mars and Area 51 might look like Jacob saying, you know why I don't pay taxes? You guys pay taxes to me. I'm first lien position. I'm what the IRS looks like when I stop winking. One big eyeball, right? So now we have a big black fractal that like eats everything and gobbles it up. And I talked to you guys about that last strong. If you missed it, click on it. There's a link on my page. We'll tell you about the black fractal. And there's one pattern that we all came up in where we were all tight like this in different ways, and everybody had the perfect paste inside of you. Now we don't get confused with those other things. How's it the sesquiquadrates for? It's like letting people know, you know what? Uranus is like this little sigil. He's like, he picked his head up and he's like, it's like Groundhog Day, and he's like, hell no. And it's like, it's closed. There was no door there. And that's what that looks like, okay? It's like what Neptune knew too. That's why Neptune's like, you wanna sing a new song? I'll show you what the day the music died. Before Jacob's birthday, February 2nd was actually a lie. They shut the city of New York down for the third when this guy came flying in at 22 hours of birth, and they woke me up on the other side in a hearse, cutting me up and eating me for dessert. I literally woke up on a hospital table while they were operating on me in between things, so yeah, alright. So these things are a lie, but that's literally how I woke up. And I think what it's like, no Red Sea, yeah. Saw you scrolling, you don't get to do that inside of here. Biosphere 8 doesn't exist. Because y'all couldn't even land in the 7. You have to be in Halo 8, and the difference between the 7 and 8. And what happens with 7 and 7 when you open up water to just create more of that molecule, it is literally a bomb. It's a halitosis happening, is what that is. It's a hydrogen bomb, but it happens from the inside. And so for those of us that are on the inside of it, since we have like a resonance frequency, that's like a pack on the outside of a skin, where none of us are actually like trapped in that form. We're like all inside of this skin thing. But there's kind of like technically in that way a limit to where the sky is, and it's like it's not what we were told. There's a limit in there. It squeezes things like particles that are being mixed, and you don't want to get to those edges there and go through. It's like a cheese grater. That's why some of us did the Play-Doh Fun Factory last Friday. Instead, we're like, let's have the Fun Factory. And we squished it through the Play-Doh, because this is neuroplastic mind and creation now we're talking about and what I'm explaining. And so I got pressed a certain way, enough to be able to see this and say, okay, yeah, I can definitely claim that 20-degree Capricorn there as my communication, and why that's my Mercury placement here is Pluto. And why this 1 degree, you know, what it is to just move 1 degree, and why it's been like this 1 degree that we've been reviewing with this retrograde in Capricorn, and where kind of mirrors no matter what sign or house it's in. We're learning about what can happen on 1 degree that we land on, and why it's 1 degree, 1 stake. Did we all forget? You know, it's like, well, let's all have that state, but we don't really want to know how we landed in that. Oh, no, we have to. And that's where the water explodes. And so some of us are ready for this. So, yeah, harsh landscape of the moon with a black sky, and Earth might not be visible because that ear thing is a magic rinser. So a green man that tried to jump through the screen, stick his hand in there and grab things. A black fractal that says destroyed and you're for dinner. And my baby's okay. Settle down, love. A star turning many different colors. Maybe us being birthed in a halo grid where nobody stripped the colors. A string of pearls that didn't end up in some bad tape that some of y'all didn't want. Icicles melting all over that. And a bummer at work on a mummy that might have gotten up and started talking and saying, "Don't call me Pluto, it makes me feel funny, you can call me Jacob." Or a terrarium filled with carnivorous plants. This is what I've been explaining. It's the black fractal creation now that eats everything. And so all of these things have been happening the whole time. These are what the different degrees do. And when we land the energy in nuclear density and it goes through the chop spinner like the caduceus, wow. Can it do the dishes too? I think so. Let's get Elroy in on that one, because I think Elroy had it too good. We're keeping Leroy. He's going to be chill. I got Elroy in there doing the dishes and washing the grill. This is a tidal wave approaching, and there was a man shearing sheep. Might have been a very special haircut on the plant that didn't learn to speak, and what an advanced form of Candida looks like, formerly known as the Earth. And I say that's not my ear thing, that's the way it self-cleans. So, the monkey dressed in a brocade coat tried to lock himself into a silver jacket, is what I'm hearing for a Little Dipper story, and a really messed up way to pack it, because some of you are going to know who this is. This is people literally trying to sell you on something that we'll call playing with roles, masks, and the tricky side of life, and how somebody that might want to try to advance themselves into our civilization that actually knew how to move in diplomatic fashion and halo ourselves in the biosphere of water where nothing else ever gets in, might try to, as this says, simulate whichever facet will optimize the situation, where we actually get a look at what false creation isn't allowed to do here, because it doesn't exist inside of here, and it basically becomes the glue on the outside of this nuclear membrane and what the magnetic force and propulsion shield is, when it's really centrifugal force, again, for the wind, just moving things around and helping us land it. It's like an organism that just feeds on itself in a friendly way now. And yeah, that monkey dressed in a brocade coat doesn't get to claim to be a missing link between us and them. And like, hey, if we just focus on animal husbandry and get this like bestiality shit right, we can prove that we're like related to this species that's amazing, that doesn't kill its children, that doesn't eat itself. And we just throw the monkey in a jacket, and rickroll it. Give it an electric car and blow up a planet, yeah. So these are the things that are getting the stare down here. What's in a degree, right? What's in 1 degree? So rose petals scattered on a path where V.C. Andrews' story doesn't come back to play Venus mousetrap and trap Thumbelina in some crappy story where daddy gets to take a piece of her and lock her up for more, where she can't remember herself and she's got some split genetic makeup, where they're making shows about it. Have you seen Orphan Black? So what's in that 1 degree? Well, let's talk about the one that they can't take back. 19, right here. What we talked about in the previous fortnight. Sagittarius 19, Montauk monster. Monday, more Mondays, months of that. Talk it up, right? Is it the I am hole? Elohim on the other side. I am hole, a big hole. This is a Tower of Babbling communication they all fall into, landing on stakes like this one. Monstrous sea creature dead, washed up on the beach. Nice. Poisons, toxins, the refuse of what is incomplete. Create a stink and a sensation. It is horrible to be rotting away in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it is worse for everybody to know it and nobody to be able to do anything about it or give a shit about it, because some of us actually did do something about it. Some of y'all made those calls. Now we know how they landed and why it's like a toilet rounding itself up. It's worse for everybody to know it and nobody to be able to do anything about it. But isn't it worse if they could have and they didn't? They chose not to. Choices, decisions. Each and every inward distortion magnifies itself and takes over the situation. You are getting a great chance to behold every old syndrome played back everywhere. And if you can forgive and move on, all of it will be more than worth it, no matter how sickening it felt at the time. So they're getting like a Virgo kind of look at themselves on those red dots, because today with the ruby eyes on two rats, what tarot knows about the stare back, when the being inside that some people thought they were actually looks them back and says, you're not even mine, you're not in this body, and they drop from the skin because it's like being rejected. It's a weird magnetic repulsion system. And so the monster sea creatures washed up dead. And what did we leave with where we left off last time? The changing of water into wine. Why not, right? Is that how they Dionysus and give us an olive branch in the eye? You know, I don't think so. Because nothing gets inside of the nuclear halo now. Babe, you settle down, my love. The little girl's over there. She's not even looking at me. She's like turned the other way, but she's kind of like crying that way. You playing? These are the things that can happen on 1 degree that can tell to us about how things will even round themselves up. If we look at where we've landed, it makes sense to keep parts of the intention on the side of where nobody would leave any aspect of your hypersentience stranded. Because these things actually are creating whole lives and civilizations, and that's what they can prove on a cultural level just with each and every person. Your whole body has been, you know, that's the you and I verse. Just that one. It's the one that's with you all the time where you can create everything. And so it's like some of us lumped up together and we're protecting that within one understanding. And so what's good about that is it's like everybody has the same imprint, like on a genetic level in that way, but with all our different mixers. So all your different colors, your color palette is so different from mine. We're all distinct. And it's like one form that can heal us all. And so right now it's being plucked. And so some of these things that don't land on these degrees, it's like, oh, that didn't land there. What do you call a monstrous sea creature? Y'all didn't land. That's not what happened in 1977. It was in 1977 what water was split for my birth on maritime admiralty law and nobody got in there? No, none of this stuff makes sense. These are particles that blasted. We've been in this inert rinser, moving little bits at a time, but it looks like all these stories that just got mashed together, and only if we share the same trauma do any of these things even add up. So it's getting a wash. So the changing of water into wine, how about a nice stiff drink for that one, right? I can handle that. Toad singing at night and the blackbirds flying out of a pie. We're going to skip on that for now, because all of that stuff, and even tomorrow's is a lie. Is that tomorrow? It's like 2 more rows. What is that? Day and night, sunset. It's like flipping, flopping. Just because we were learning how to flip the light switch and what your Rickroll has been. That's why I'm a real fan of Elon Musketeer Perped. He's perped for a lot of things on my radar, by the way. Specifically 11-year-olds. Okay, so tomorrow's. Where does that leave us? What are we talking about? Things that just land in time. Because they're 1 more degree. Yeah, it's 20. 20 on the morrow. Which is the changing of the water into wine. So it's literally, it's like, so is this how the ruby red slippers, there's no place like home, with those rats. If you spell rats backwards, you know that that's star. You flip it backwards, it's like a box of cards. Tarot, I wonder what the high priestess knows about, hey, it's a bitch slap. And Why that star might be turning many colors. This is a great book, you all. It's like Inside Degrees, Developing Your Soul Biography Using the Chandra Symbols by Elias Lonsdale. This is like my companion to like how to navigate the Bible, because it's like a book of spells where some of us had to jump out and like not be beheaded. Like learning about the book of Jeremiah and what it is to be the slow burning wax. I'm the slow burning wax. You're the slow burning wax, my love. We jumped out and we're the candle that just speaks back. Nobody gets to burn you. Okay. So you're the star that turns many different colors that wasn't a rat with ruby eyes. You see? So maybe you're the star that didn't reach for itself and explode. You were inside. And we're grateful that ice is melting. And that, yeah, we understand things like why water might turn to wine and why we didn't get scattered outside of something. There was no way to divide it. It's a lot weirder than we were told. So what's in this story? What's in this written word? What's in this thing that we were told might be a graven image, you know? When you write it and stretch it, does it turn into something else because of the breath spoken and how we saw our way through it and it looked back because it's all just skin and you waking up? That's what it's been like for me. So those rats didn't look back at you or me, and in some cases we didn't get stuck in that trap. It wasn't a Mobius strip where you could chip your way in, magic slip, you know, for the sin and red rum on the Ella umbrella. Yeah, what we can create and form, and with minds, and where having the mind of a child that just wants to sing a song and feel better is what I went with in this creation. And why some things never get inside. And so for me, experiencing the sesquiquadrate, it's kind of like what that's like. It's like me looking at when I would call my wife and I'm like, hey, I got this shield here on our communication because I'm doing this Pluto thing here, like, you know, your dad. It's also got the sesquiquadrate here on the communication. He's like, I'm going to put the kibosh on this communication that you're having with my beautiful daughter. You know, she's feeling magical right now in the House of 8, and we're creating things on a cosmic chi, a cosmic level. And it's like, how do we stare ourselves down, right? And what's being created here, not get confused by these things that we took for granted as words and sentences and my history was, or your history was. This bad torrent thing that crunched and made a bunch of videos, and some of them suck, let's be honest. If you ever flipped around, there's so much crap, right? So it's like, how about we just like take all our money and we like make a magnet thing that just sweeps it all away and say, hey, take the bullshit and go. Do it for fun and laughs, because that's why I got 5 on it. It's like, poof, 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 poof. That's what that is here today. So it's like the magnet. And we took a degree down too, because this was 13 degrees yesterday here on this magnet. So, you know, here, this is like Cancer saying, get out of my house. Y'all are not fun. I don't want you here. I want you to go away. I've been trying to clear it up because many voices were singing different songs at the same time. And it's like, Jolie, chill, man. It's like headache noise. And see, even my daughter singing. So the surgeon had to come in with the magnet, because today the magnet of the North Node and where we're all going has C 2019 Q4 in the landing of the eccentricity pattern. Cancer 12, carefully a surgeon begins the dissection of a corpse. Maybe that was not there. I'm gonna grab the baby. Come here, my love. You be making noise. Why don't you show them? Just a little bit of love and chill for daddy. Jolie's here, making an appearance. My daughter had to make a cameo for that. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Because we move 1 degree, and sometimes that's actually going to explain to us a little bit more about why these configurations work differently for those of us in the nuclear halo. And some of the things that we're going to start hearing in the news about the space bar and how the most important spirit is the one that tap, 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 tap on the keys right there. Well, I've been programming a game with you in neural halos. So we're talking really quiet because ASMR stuff works great for me. We've got a special surgery going on with dots. Because of those little red dots that look like eyes that might have been like rats in your home. Carefully, a surgeon begins the dissection of a corpse. This is what's being lifted off on the private shield of those. Thank you for participating in Biosphere 8. Because they thought they were elated in that, and listening to what's in my halo. There's no hope for Biosphere 8. He had to be part of what got mastered by sound in 7. Halo 8 is a private club, and some people tried to land on my pattern and stretch themselves in over something that I had to expose them for, and it's a big middle finger. And a big, 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 big hole in the floor, and they just go forever. So, carefully, a surgeon began dissecting that corpse. The analytical intellect it takes as its special province after the after image, the recapitulative view, second-guessing yourself, criticizing, cutting things up. You are expertly skillful at showing things the way they are on the surface. An extraordinary genius in this domain can evolve. Cooling off partisan sentiment and getting at what is there, devoid of idealistic projections, sticking to the facts, designing life as an experiment in which you must pay very close attention and miss nothing. But the heart is cut out. The human element is literally being eliminated. That's even what it says here. As we found out that humans, don't get confused with what you are if you're watching this. You're not human to me. If you're one of the safe ones. You didn't take a name, flip it upside down, and yank the color and energy out of it to breathe into that form. That's what humans do. Unaware organic parasites, it's a naturalization word. It's a neo-Nazi view on what's germinated with advanced technology. So, yeah, the heart is cut out and the human element is eliminated. Is it an advance or a regressive loop? Well, it's a proof that no such thing as transhumanism exists because we don't take the humans into our angelic form. We proved with the Nephilim are at 0 point, and what I had to learn in a very inconvenient way about being bound to the book of spells in the King James Version Bible. I dissected the corpse this way. So, yeah, devoid of idealistic projections, sticking to the facts, designing life as an experiment in which you must pay very close attention and miss nothing, right? Because that heart got cut out and the human element got eliminated. Is it an advance or a regressive loop? What do you think? Do some things just have to be this way? Not anymore. It was a Hegelian loop. Is the world a stark and barren place to be? And is there a path directly under this icy intellect to recover the soul in things, to the mind's satisfaction and the spirit's release? Well, I do think so. And that's why those many voices singing different songs at the same time knew what to do, and why some of you all are actually very, very, very good friends of mine. And why I'm excited about this. And let me see here. I'll put this here so you can see it. There. That's the one I wanted to put there for you. This is the pattern that we dropped in on. You see? Many voices safe in that one little pattern. Those astronomers are monitoring this comet, you know? It's hurtling through the solar system. Kind of cool, right? Yeah. So that's what that's for. That's why it hurdles and why we can do so much better. And why we do so lovingly. So, any of you all like to hear a song? I think we're gonna do a little bit of a reading for you with music. And do we have Archangel Gabriel? Think so. A little bit of a smudge there. Yeah, hopefully I don't get chopped off on music again. Yesterday, he used Star. I got banned. YouTube wouldn't let me play. Somebody named Moopay or Mooyap blocked me for Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper, and I'm like, oh, okay, so these things got sold to tech because that's not even Cyndi Lauper's name. What's Moopay or Mooyap? Is that some weird PayPal thing? You get to pay for everything. It's like a special way to keep them in your lap. Keep you paying the bills and flipping switches. Keep you on track in an oligarchy. I thought that was weird, so I turned my back on that. I actually, if you'd like, I had to link it. I uploaded it on DTube, and so for those of you that want to see it, got the whole thing up. The links are on the video yesterday. I do that like 3 or 4 times just to get that to work. So, hey, what did we turn our backs on? Because Mercante's showing up, and for some of y'all, this is like, why the past 5 months, perhaps? I'm hearing for some of y'all, I mean, I'm just going to look at 5 months here unless I hear something else. It's 5 months, you know, we're talking about the time that Pluto had been retrograde and where that might have happened in your charts. So you might want to look at wherever you have whatever affairs are going on in your house of Capricorn or wherever Pluto is in your natal chart. I'll give you some clues about where reflections for this might be. I'm hearing for some of you all, it's like, it might have been longer than that, but some of you have been actually waiting for something to happen, because I'm hearing that 13 for some of you all is maybe a more apt number. This is also like death card number, and so I'm hearing for some of y'all, it's like whatever it was that was the point of no return, where you literally had to either turn your back or like change your world, is what I'm hearing. And for a lot of us, that's exactly what Pluto is going to signify. You know, that's what Pluto is all about. This is how things get discovered in that way. So, conversations, la conversaciones. This is sometimes private communications that people will have. I mean, there's a lot of people that are involved there, but sometimes this is like family matters. This is like family matters, things that happen in a closed room where you'd actually have to be like, you know, what they say, blood, to get in there. Okay, so we got Gran Signore. I'm hearing for some, it's like turning your back on some things that either father said or recommended, or in some cases, because father said or recommended, and what that might look like here, especially if you're like some kind of entrepreneur, because I'm hearing for some of y'all, it's like some things that you said that you can't take back, and things that might be pressing matters right now, especially if you're having difficulty or needing to ask for help from resources that might be family resources, because they're talking about something that went away. And I'm hearing for some of y'all, it might have been like a bad business deal. I'm sorry if that's the case, because I'm hearing about somebody that like sent some money, might have gone overseas, and it's like waiting to hear back about something that you should have received. Maybe it was like some kind of package or a parcel, something to do with your business. But I'm hearing for somebody, it's like what you learned about that, and maybe that's something your dad taught you about, especially if you have anything to do with like banking or international trade or anything like that, where you might be like a merchant, you might be moving things. So hearing for some of y'all, it's like cutting your losses around, well, here you go, thieves. It's a thief that got found out here, and wow, la nemica. So this is like an enemy, like a bad friend, and somebody that might say, well, you just left it out in the open, you didn't care about it. So I'm just hearing that that would be something that a real good friend might say. Somebody that's just kind of around you all the time. It's like, well, I'm your friend, you know, but you gave me that, and you know, you didn't have to know I was doing that. Bless you. So hearing for some of y'all, it's things that can't be hidden, ways that people don't get to look at your finances or look at your private matters, and certain things that it might have made sense to turn your back on, especially if, like, hearing like 5 months ago, a decision might have been made about something, and it's like some of you all are kind of like, wow, maybe I should have turned my back on that thing. So it could reflect for you differently depending on who you are. But let's go ahead and just get these cards nice and fresh. The fresh energy. And I'm going to get us a song. Let's see. Hopefully we won't get banned today. Alright. Here's the Art of Love musical tarot deck. Are we ready? Yes. So, alright. So today we've got Hey Baby by Bruce Chance. Hey baby, how you doing? I wanna know, would you be my girl? And I'm here for some of you all, it's like, ooh, hey, shake. I'm hearing from somebody, it's like, she got her voice because her throat chakra is feeling good, and for some of y'all it's like hitting that guy up that you want to talk to and what he might say, because for some of you all it's the reverse of this one, right? So let's see, and it's a new start too for some of y'all, especially if it's like, oh baby, that's a baby there, Bambino, my big bow, a special little kid. Let's see here. Alright, so there's a casa here. That's the house. I'm hearing for some of y'all, it's like, ooh, I want to stay at home. I want to be a stay-at-home parent. I want to have my baby and be able to just be in my world. And what somebody might need to know about good fortune and, like, planning for things to go right in every kind of situation, because we got Fortuna here and she got her hand on it real good too. There's a big 5 right up there, and Fortuna's the one that just kind of knows how to spray the blessings on. It's like that harp technology coming and say, hey, maybe a child picked you and you get to be that one there with the have and the hold. And some people have to, like, plan for things before they get started, especially if you're thinking about a baby. So let's see here, Morte. There's another 5 there, and I'm hearing for some of you all, it's like a change in health status and trying to figure out ways to do it, and hearing about somebody who might have had some kind of block with them, like a fertility block, but situations where you might have somebody that can help with that because of what you found out. That doesn't actually have to be blocked, because I'm hearing for some of you all, it's like the end of whatever that crisis is if there was a block. So for some of you all, it's finding a good surrogate. For others, it's learning that in the passing of one part of your life, or one way that you thought that something had to go, there was another way to open up that energy. And what that hey baby is, it's being open to fortune. And so sometimes there's a trade-off. It's what you have to know about. Also hearing for somebody else too, this is just a whole new way to look at the way gifts are coming, because I'm literally seeing somebody here who's taking delivery of a house that's free of the mortgage. So it's the end of the strawman philosophy, and what it might look like when Lady Liberty comes and she says, you know what, I'm nice and naked here. You don't have to look at me like that, because it's decent here. The way she's wearing it too, and what it might be like when Fortuna's coming to all of you, letting you know it's the end of the false worldview, and some of y'all have a really nice home that you're going to be able to take delivery of, where nobody's going to come like trying to grab at you for taxes or money or income, and you're actually going to get a new start, just like this one. And you know, it's okay to be a baby again. And people that got caught doing stupid things, trying to break into these houses with these new bioauthentication models and what I've been explaining about, these kind of awesome superpowers that we have in the spray-on tech, they can't get into these houses anymore because it's like being detected and being repelled by a magnet that makes sure that they can't come in and they have no place to stick. So welcome to Fortuna, welcome to a new us, because inside of the Won Strong Inception, there's a way for us to redesign things where none of us have to go out like this either, because this is the end of the false material realm. We know how to regenerate things with hyper loving biosentience, and so it's kind of like calling us to rethink what it is in a passing. What is it to die? What is it to be this baby here? And what is it to know that in the eye of the Kim era, everything was witnessed? Just like on this fancy little bird here, it found itself in a gated sort of community where, although everything was seen, witnessed, and heard, nobody's nudity, you know, for the, hey, you get your nude on, you know, nude on, you get your nude on, you know, somebody see it? Maybe gently, like that. Because now with our special edits, it's like nobody got to pull you through a fractal that didn't exist and stick their hand in while you might be sleeping. You know? You might forget, you don't know. It's like, what's all this 5D stuff people are doing? Well, now we have a way where it was all witnessed and seen and gated. Maybe a baby could, haha, you know, get a nap. And maybe, remember some things like being open and clean and gifted. Not having to go that way. So, yeah, that's what's going on. Hey, baby, love you so much. If I can help any of you all with a private reading, just know I'm doing a special right now for this fortnight on my detailed personal readings. They're generally about 45 minutes long. I can answer 3 questions. I do charts, and I can even tell you some things about people that you might be confused about in your life, especially if you have a way to name into them or have birthdays or anything like that. I can probably tell you addresses where they might be landing, where they should and shouldn't be. And just know if you're being cyber stalked in any kind of way, there's a special cam that's on the other end of that, that's making sure that Venus flytrap thing has them power liquidated, and you are in the baby gate, my love. So just know that first and foremost. If I don't hear from you, take care. Hope you feel good, and definitely check out my new series. I'm going to link them here at the end of this, and also below. Check your sun, your moon, and your rising for the October 1st to 14th fortnight. I'll let you know about some things that are happening in your world. All right, we'll catch you again soon. We're back for another one. Bye for now.
Promise that you'll catch your